like, wow, God is so cool.
There was fire raining down. The angels are like, "You gotta get out of here! Don't look back!" And she missed that part because there was
She was
fire.
like,
everywhere.
what?
And
She
so
said,
she's
"What
running
did you
away, and she's like,
say?"
"I bet God would love it if I." It's like, oh, you know what? Welcome back to the Honest Bible Studies. My name is Bob. I've got Lexi and Rion with me.
Hey.
And today we're going to be looking at Lot's Wife Looked Back. Story 15 from my book of Bible stories.
Oh, golly. All the memories. This got its own movie.
This got a movie?
It's got its own movie.
Oh, we're going to have to check
That's
out the movie.
right.
Oh, and it looks like
boy.
you have the same art.
Well, I guess, does it count as a movie? It was like a 3-part miniseries.
That might be the better vernacular for that. A 3-part.
I think the best
miniseries.
vernacular is it turned into a travesty. It's the technical term for it.
Actually,
The
if you look in the dictionary, you probably
It's right
could
there next
find
to-
travesty, Lot's pillar of salt wife right
Yes.
next to
Lot's
it.
wife looked back. See, oopsie whoopsie.
Oops. How
Oops.
deviant of her. Like, could she not have just obeyed?
I mean, yeah.
If you're in terror, you're always, I guess that's a warning. If I'm being like chased by a killer, I'm not going to check to see if he's like 3 feet or 10 feet.
I mean, there's a song about this. Cool guys don't look at explosions.
Really?
Yeah, you never heard the song "Cool Guys Don't Look at Explosions"?
No, but okay.
They light the fuse and walk away.
That's true.
Okay.
though.
Right? So she shouldn't
But
have
he
looked.
didn't light the fuse. But he didn't light the fuse, though.
God did.
Yeah.
God lit the fuse.
God lit that fuse.
And
Not
God
that, which
did
doesn't
look-
make it God's fault. It's not God's fault.
Of course not. It's
That's
never
not
God's fault.
God may have been instrumental to making everything about it happen, but that doesn't make it God's fault.
Yeah, I guess before we, because like the story is not going to really get into this, especially since don't they redo this story somewhere later in the Bible? Because first, the angels come to visit Lot, and they're so hot that everyone is like,
Juicy.
"Let me have those angels." Dad is like,
Juicy.
and he's like, "No, you can have my daughters."
That's so
Right.
much better.
But
And they're
he's
like,
a very upstanding guy. But
And
yeah, that
you don't
similar
wanna look without
story did
God.
kind of happen before. In Judges, a similar themed
Yes.
story happens before, where all the dudes in the town come banging on the door, but that's the one who got chopped
Got
up.
a visitor. Hi.
The dude chopped her up and
Yes.
buried her
The
different body
12
parts.
Yeah, the 12 parts, and then they get distributed all
Yes.
across Israel. I remember
Yeah,
hearing
gruesome.
I heard a Bible scholar, I think it was Bart Ehrman, talking about that story, but I don't remember what he said. I'll have to go rewatch that video. It was interesting. Sir,
Very interesting to see
It
how
could be a
they
whole
treated women back then, and we're
Yeah.
still fighting
Yeah.
not have that kind of treatment today.
Yeah, there's some people who think this is the good old days.
I think anytime someone says, like, specifically make America great again, but anytime people miss the old times, I can't help, like, just being a woman of color. I'm just like, what time? Because I
Yeah.
can't even
Name a
time
year.
travel freely.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know what you're trying to work back
Right.
up to.
Yeah, when was it cool again?
Never. Well, actually, if you go back, let's say 1500 years, that's when it was actually like go back to before they came, and then this
It was
this
kinda cool.
territory, then
Yeah.
it was fine. Yeah,
They
but
probably
we
had a few other. Every society has their own problems, but
hey,
yeah,
don't they?
but
Don't we?
yeah, but colonization was the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And still continues to be so till today.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Okay.
you ready to
can
get
we-
into this?
Yeah. Let's look
Dive
back
in.
on Lot's wife looking.
Yeah, let's look back at.
We'll know this was a mistake if one or both of you, or even I, turn into a pillar of salt. Okay. Lots
or if
of-
our audience turns into a pillar of salt.
Well, we won't
My
know
bad.
about that.
Yeah.
True.
We won't find out.
That's true. Damn.
Yeah.
Leave in the comments if you're a pillar of salt.
Yeah, if you've been to a bigger pillar of salt.
Just bang like this with your salty fingertips.
Yeah, try to just
your salty
position
nubs.
yourself above the keyboard so that when you turn into salt, you'll just slam on it.
Maybe type out the comment so when someone finds you, then they can just hit send
They
for
can just
you.
hit send. Yeah,
There you go.
Just cover all
Problem
your
solved. We're
Yeah.
problem solvers, if nothing else.
All right. Lot's wife looked back. Lot and his family lived together with Abraham in the land of Canaan. One day, Abraham said to Lot,
"There isn't land enough here for all our animals. Please let us separate. If you go one way, then I will go the other."
You like my Abraham voice?
That was really good. I imagine that's how Abraham sounded.
Yeah, I tried to get the accent right.
The other thing too is I just like how he didn't Lot make this whole stink like, Abraham, you got too much stuff, I need more of it, and he's like, okay, you go here, and he's like, no, that's better for you or something. So he picked.
Yeah.
There was something like that going on.
They were a little bit back and forth, I think, in regards to like there's too many of them. There are going to be problems out in the fields with everybody running into each other. Like, you go this way, I'll go that way. That way, there's not going to be any problems.
Logistically, I mean.
Okay. All right.
Lot looked over the land. He saw a very nice part of the country that had water and a lot of good grass for his animals, as opposed to all that bad grass.
That's the grass I like.
That's the kind of grass that I can get into, yeah.
So devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
That's right.
This was the district of the Jordan. So Lot moved his family and animals there. They finally made their home in the city of Sodom. The people of Sodom were very bad.
I love that.
They were very bad.
Naughty or bad?
A little column A, a little column B.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Yeah. This upset Lot because he was a good man. God was upset too. Finally, God sent 2 angels to warn Lot that he was going to destroy Sodom and the nearby city of Gomorrah because of their badness.
Why was God so upset? I just really need to know, like, what God was so upset about.
God is such a busybody. First of all, you like
Is he not?
like
Dude, mind your business.
We skipped over the whole part where Abraham's like, look, if I can find 50 good people, don't destroy it. If I can find 2 good people, don't destroy it. And like, so does Lot not count? And
No.
was Lot bad?
You have to find 50 good people. You can't know 50 good people beforehand.
But how do you
Find 50
find them?
more good people.
Do you have to give them a survey? Like, what is
That's a good question
what's
too.
the criteria to know if they're good? And I guess at the end of the day, the criteria was you had to listen to what Lot said without question.
Yeah.
And his son-in-law laughed, or soon-to-be son-in-law laughed at him, and was therefore. I mean, if some dude came and told me that God was going to burn my house down, I'd laugh too. Like,
yeah, well, not soon to be son-in-law. You soon to be a pile of ash. He never got to be the son-in-law.
And not a pillar. He didn't
Never
even get to
made
be a
it.
pillar.
Yeah.
Straight to ash.
Straight to ash. The bad to ash pipeline in Sodom was crazy. Crazy.
Once you get started,
It's a slippery slope.
right down
Almost
into that
as
rabbit
slippery
hole.
as those angels' bodies.
God is, if you look at God like a frat boy or something, he makes much more sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, he's just looking for people to hurt.
Typical broski.
That's not a frat boy thing.
No, but I'm just, I guess
Is he looking to flex?
thing
He's looking to
that's
show somebody his muscles. Like, he's the
Yeah.
guy. He's the God that has his shoulders rolled up
Yeah, his
around.
shoulders rolled all the way.
but
College.
it's way more like beef cake muscle man. And
God's a beef.
Yeah,
cake.
new guy he doesn't know shows up, and his first question is like, "Yo, how much you press, dude? How much do you press, though?"
But here's the weird thing: he's showing off for men. Like, he doesn't care. He doesn't regard what women think or feel.
I mean, it's
So
great.
God does this to peacock in front of.
It's
dudes.
It's insane that he even cares what humans think. But the fact that he's left out half of them is even crazy.
Well, okay,
That's like caring what happens to my shit after I flush it. I
like,
don't care.
Like, imagine if you met a person who was like, "Hey, yeah, I've got this talent, I got that talent, and the only things that matter to me are what black ants think about me. Red ants can fuck right off. I don't care. But black ants, they're the shit. I gotta figure. Hey, you're not looking.
How dare you?
How dare you?
I think, okay, well, two things. One, I think that this will come up more whenever we get around to the whole Adam and Eve situation, but it also applies here too, because I feel like anytime God sees men more interested in women than him, he gets so, lack of a better word, salty about it because like everything comes down to like what is good, because Abraham wasn't that good. Do we not remember that time that he was like, oh God, I don't know what to do, this Pharaoh's gonna steal my wife, because I told him that she was my sister. My wife. And then instead of being like, well, Abraham, why'd you do that, you idiot, you should have just been honest, I've got your back, he was instead like, Pharaoh, I'm gonna kill you if you mess with my bro here. That's my bro. I love him.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter that he lied to you for some fucking reason.
And Sarah got touched by another man when she was a married woman.
That story always cracks me up because I'm always just like, I always read the Pharaoh as like so confused. He's like, just leave, but like, why did you, what?
Yeah. He's like, here, take money and get the F out of here. Like, I don't even know what you were up to. This is weird. This is so weird.
You guys
I wouldn't have cared.
Weird shit here.
They learned it from God. I learned it from watching you.
My favorite part about like the stuff about the Pharaoh is watching you. My favorite thing about the Pharaoh story is always that like it's the weirdest thing to me is when they're like performing their god magic tricks for him, and he's like, "My dudes can do this too," and I'm like, "What? They can? They can? Really? Okay."
And they did. And the only thing is, the other snakes gobbled up their snakes, but they still were able to turn their staffs into snakes.
I am not impressed that
one snake
eat another snake.
That's right. That's natural.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, they did the same stuff too. I mean, yeah, and then at a certain point they stopped because like they're not also gonna turn the Nile into blood, but presumably I guess they could have.
Maybe. Right.
Maybe
they just didn't want to do that to their people.
And I don't know if the Bible story, I think they do. But like the whole Baal issue was really weird, right? Because like
obsessed.
Because like if I'm God and my only yum is people caring about me. So then
that's what gets him hard, yeah.
Then some other human presumably makes up Baal. And now first of all, why am I threatened? Because I could just be like, I could Sodom and Gomorrah them. Or I could just like
magic heart attack. I mean, you could do anything you want to.
Or I could just magically be God. I could be like, here, you guys have no more homelessness and lots of watermelons. I know that's a big deal here. Zip, zap, zoop. I'm God, not Baal. So I don't know. God is just really insecure, and I don't. No. And like this is
like, super insecure. He does love to be coddled, and especially considering if those gods aren't supposed to be as powerful then what is the problem with getting rid of them?
I mean, it seems really strange. It seems really like there's a real simple explanation for if the power of imagination is all it takes to create another god, then I think we know where the first god came from. Right? Like I feel like that answers itself.
Are you sure?
That's I don't know. Logical. It just seems like really. I mean,
see, I think you're using too much of this, and
too much of my own thinking.
You're using too much of this. You need to use more of this.
Okay, this doesn't do any thinking at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, right.
That's
pass
the point, and you've gotten it. Good job.
It just pushes blood around my body. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all I needed?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Just let your heart beat for God.
All right. Well,
Your heartbeat for God. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
yeah.
That's good. That's really good.
The angels told Lot. I'm trying to decide what voice the angels have.
Oh.
I got a voice.
I
Hurry.
feel like they'd be singing. Okay,
Singing?
no.
Oh, I can't. I'm not going to be able to sing these lines.
Okay, no. I think the deep voice was they probably
Okay,
going to
okay.
be like, "Yo,
Yeah. Hurry. Take your wife and your two
Batman.
daughters and get out of here. Lot and his family were a little slow in going, and so the angels took them by the
Slow in
hand
going.
and led them out of the city. Then one of the angels said, "Run for your lives. Don't look back. Run to the hills so that you won't be killed." That almost rhymed.
not killed."
Yeah.
That's really good. That was quite sexy. I enjoyed
I mean,
that.
thank you. Getting killed is the chief concern, it seems like, for witnesses. Dying
What
is like the main threat.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I remember when we first met,
Mhm.
it was so weird to me because, like, you mentioned, like, we after a while we had talked, and then and I thought you explained to me this whole death thing, and I was like, I don't know, that just doesn't seem that scary to me.
It was the only fear I had, I think. But it is weird. I think for such a long time,
Goodbye.
I think for such a long time I was so like scared of just death and aging in general. But I think now, and I was just thinking about this earlier today, like the older I get, the more comfortable I am with myself. And I almost feel like that's part of why the witnesses really like harp on like staying young forever. Like they want to like almost chase that naivety, so you'll just sort of like tuck under. I had so many insecurities just based on like what the men around me were saying about and like how they talked about women. It's like, well, I don't want to be talked about like that. But now I'm older and I'm like, you know what? Like, okay, I don't really feel like the prettiest in the world, but certainly not the ugliest. And I'm just like me, and like everyone is fine.
Yeah.
And
people are just people. It's fine.
You know, you can just live.
And you know, the idea that you're going to be young forever is a natural. It's like the knob on the anxiety is constantly tuning itself up throughout your whole life, no matter what you do. So the anxiety to stay within the truth and hope for eternal youth gets stronger and stronger the older you get. It's an insidious tactic.
Yes.
Yeah, actually,
it really is.
You know,
it keeps
like you promise something that only gets more valuable over time.
Right, because as your life gets wasted inside of the organization, and the less you get to live it, the more you realize you're wanting something better because what you have is complete bogus.
I mean, it's simultaneously,
but on purpose.
It's simultaneously the sunk cost fallacy. If you spent 40 years in the truth, you're not going to want to say, well, those 40 years were a waste or whatever. At the same time, I don't think people should view time as a waste. I don't think, and part of that is just this is just my perspective, right? I didn't grow up in the witnesses. My parents are Hindu, but I was an atheist since I was a little kid, basically. And my perspective on it has always been that like time just passes, and it's relative to each of us. Science tells us it's relative to each of us. And so as a result, we don't really have any say over what we do or how we do it, because I don't believe in free will either. So there's no could have been. There's no what if. Like 12 years ago, if I think about what I did 12 years ago, whatever that is led to me now, and that's it. That's the only way it could have happened, because it did happen that way. Right? So it's like I didn't waste that time because the time was spent before I was even there. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it as a loss just simply because I saw it as a gain by getting out. I mean, I do see it
that's true.
as like it sucks that they took everything from me. Not everything, but they took a
They
lot
took
from
things
me.
from
They
you
took my
that were
freedom.
valuable to you.
Right, valuable
That
to
are
me.
valuable to you.
Exactly.
But
And that I
yeah,
think is the most
but that
disappointing
doesn't
thing.
mean that doesn't mean all is lost or that
Right,
you know
exactly. I've got my freedom now, and that's the most important thing to
that's
me.
the thing. Hank Green said this when he got cancer. One of the things he said when he decided to get a mohawk was that when like 10, 15 years ago, whatever, he told himself he wanted to have a mohawk, but he never gotten one before then. And one of the things he said about him, I don't remember when he said this, but he specifically said, you don't owe your past self anything. You don't owe your past self anything. That doesn't mean you shouldn't still try for those goals. You might still think those are worthwhile goals to have and try to achieve them, that the ones you set back then, but you don't owe yourself anything. So you shouldn't feel like a failure if you didn't achieve the goals you set 10 years ago, because they may not mean anything to you anymore.
That's true.
In this case, he wanted a mohawk, he got a mohawk.
And in this case, they wanted to live.
And they ran away. Nice transition back to the story.
I couldn't think of that. But I love about the drawing, and like I do think that all the art is really good. That they found talented volunteers to do all of this, of course. But like,
Right.
looking at Lot and his daughters, it's kind of weird, isn't it? How they like realistically were much younger than this, right?
Oh yeah.
Like realistic, like I feel like they somehow drew everyone like at least like probably age of consent plus. That's just a little weird.
Like historically, they would have been depicted, as much younger, and Bible scholars probably would say that they were, X number of years, old or whatever. But like, if they're going to be sexually active in the next story, like you can't just show children.
Yeah.
Right.
But
they likely were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If any version of this story happened for real, they would have been children. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah. Those angels, though.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been
angels.
If I was those girls, I'd have been like, take me with you. Get me out of here. Did you not just hear what my dad said? You could protect me, but my dad was trying to throw me out to those men.
Yeah, well,
I come with you.
Yeah.
I would have let them impregnate me. Just saying. You can Nephilim my womb anytime.
Yeah, you can Nephilim me anytime.
Have a baby by me.
I remember I guess we'll talk more about that whenever we get to the flood. But I remember talking to somebody and I was like, God was probably sad about the flood because the Nephilim were kind of like, we're like closer to his grandkids than like even I am. True. And then he was like, no, they were never supposed to exist. And I just remember being like, aw.
But then Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, I always thought God found the whole flood thing funny.
I honestly, I am starting to think that the whole like rainbow symbolizes a bow, and bows symbolize the gods dang-a-lang. I kind of think that was God going, yeah, test me again. Not a promise to never do it again. I feel like that was God's like, I did that.
Well, yeah.
F around, find out. That's how big my D is.
Next time
here's a reminder. That's my big D up in the sky.
It'd be a real shame if another flood came for this beautiful planet you got here.
I never really thought about it, but like
Don't forget it.
Flood, and here we have Sodom and Gomorrah. So like, I guess it's not a worldwide everybody's dead and we start over with 2 again, because that just
except for all the people who have recorded histories that happened simultaneous with the flood that supposedly killed everybody.
Right.
Right, just leaving that. Yeah,
that's neither here nor there. But I like that the rainbow was kind of just a promise to get more creative.
Yeah,
like water. That's old. We don't do that again.
That one.
There's so many other elements to use.
In the original version of the story, he was like, "Okay, that one's off my bucket list."
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
He's like, what can I try next?
I'm gonna genocide everybody in a different way.
Okay, so he rained down what? I don't know, sulfur, big balls of I don't know, meteorites. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well,
So he's
Yeah,
done
what is-
water. He's done raining,
Yeah.
hellfire. I mean, just look at the plagues. There was a ton of those. There's
yeah,
like
Yeah.
darkness for I don't know how long. Bunch of bugs. He's
Yeah.
got lots of ways he can get rid of us.
You can get
It must be
cracked.
fun each way.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think
I mean, once we behave, like right now, he doesn't get
Once
to do
we
anything.
behave.
He doesn't. When we're behaving, he doesn't get to do anything. He's just watching. He wants to get in on the. He inserts
Right.
himself in the narrative.
What are you doing in here?
Like
I mean,
God has major main character syndrome.
I mean, I think
He's
the
got
whole, doesn't the
He's like,
whole
"What are
New
you
Testament
doing?"
prove that? I mean,
Yeah.
the main character is supposed to be God. It's his self-insert.
Yeah. I love. Yeah. Jesus would just be God's OC,
Yeah.
self-insert. Wow, I never
Mhm.
thought about it that way, but yeah.
I mean, the New Testament is just Old Testament fan fiction.
Right.
Wow.
It's like God boss slay. He's
Yeah.
He's got the fans, he's got the super fans, and then he's even got like the fan fiction, which is just fan fiction of the already
Yeah.
fan fiction. It's like fan fictionception.
The fact that we need 4 gospels of the same story.
We got it the first time.
And
Like honestly, Mark would suffice. It was a good story.
you didn't even
End it there.
the inconsistencies between the 4.
No, that
Well, that
makes
just
it
proves
better.
how
That makes
true
it
they are.
better.
Yeah.
Yes, that
so
proves that they're
good
true. The
Yeah.
fact that they're different proves that they're true. And
Yeah.
you know, in a court of law, it works exactly the same.
Yeah, it's interesting when you hear apologists arguing about the inconsistencies, and they will in the same breath say, well, the similarities prove that they are concurrent accounts, and the differences prove that they are different people's concurrent accounts. And I'm like, but these are details that don't line up. I mean, how about the part where Jesus was resurrected, a bunch of women saw he was gone and never told anyone, but it's in a
Right.
book.
That's
Right.
It's in a book.
And they're just writing from what they're reading. They're just, I mean, if you have, it's plagiarism. I know it's not called plagiarism back
Right.
then because that's just what you did.
That's a more
You
modern
took
interpretation.
right. You took people's ideas, you adapted them, I mean, that's just how religion worked. And it still works like that today. I mean, just look at the rapture. That is a newfangled thing over the past couple hundred years. So religion always evolves. So I get why it's done, but to say it proves something, it just proves that one person wrote a story and other people were interested in that story and decided to
Right.
adapt it.
Yeah.
That's to me
That's
what it
what
proves,
Yeah.
which is still cool. It's still really interesting literature. I give it that.
Mhm.
It's just not something I'd live my life
Yeah,
by.
I
heck?
think that's kind of where why I think, like, I was talking about this. I was like, I don't know what this means, like what my religious thing is, because not spiritual or really religious at all. But I do like just reading religious texts. Like we're slowly going through the Ramayana now, and it's just nice to like see
Oh,
like the
cool.
history of like what people used to believe, still believe,
Yeah,
and it like lasts for so
exactly.
long. Like it's still interesting, but then again, I don't need to live my life by it any more than I want to.
But that's what I want to know. I want to know the context of it. I want to
Mhm.
know
Yeah.
their truth, not the truth that you're telling me was their truth. I actually want to know what their truth is and what they really
Yeah.
believed, and no sugarcoating it. And if that means like you think 2 angels came down and almost got schnookered by a bunch of
Yeah,
dudes
right.
in a city, then yeah, let me hear about it. But just because there's 4 different versions of that story
Yeah.
doesn't make it true.
What's
That's
interesting to me is, the desire to like look into these stories and really understand what those people believed at the time, or what was intended, or even if you believe that a God inspired this text, what it really means. The interest in investigating is reflected in 2 great schisms in Christianity. One, the Protestant versus Catholic schism, with the Lutheran thing, and then also the inception of the Bible students that became the witnesses.
Yep,
So
exactly.
the fact that you're being told from on high what to think of these stories, when the entire original point was that we're all a group of people trying to discover the truth of the Bible by ourselves, together working together. it's been flipped on its head. Instead of everybody working together and figuring this crazy book out, instead we're all told what to believe, and if you don't believe it, you don't get to talk anymore. You don't get to be with your family anymore.
Right.
Like, this is the opposite of the original point.
Yeah,
Right.
I go back on that a lot too, because it's just, in general, I mean, I think it's easy to like leave a cult and then sort of poo-poo on all organized religion, which is basically kind of where I'm at. But I do feel like religion is kind of the one thing where I'm like, I feel like that is just everyone's personal journey. It doesn't need to be a collective in this one instance. Like,
Right.
not like that. I don't know.
Well, when you don't teach people how to think for themselves, people just want you to tell them what to think. But I really feel like having a journey and simply just discussing these stories like we're doing is the way to do it. Is the way to understand our ancestors better. And I really just want people to stop demonizing our ancestors, and that to me is the problem. There's so much wisdom that can be found by understanding the reasons that they did what they did. And I think for whatever reason, I don't know if it's simply colonialism, but they've just tended to make everybody that bad savage word. Everybody, they believe in our gods, they're just bad people. Oh, they killed babies. And it's simply not the truth. So that's why I love having an honest Bible study where we can we can shit talk it, but we're still telling the truth. And that's the part I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think too, like, I mean, I'm sure like a lot of it can all be traced back to colonialism. But like I think with
it's a weapon, it's a tool.
Yeah. But I do think it is, because like, whenever the first conscious human people were there, whatever, they didn't know, they were learning everything. And like even now, like what we say is problematic now, some people were like, I always thought it was problematic then too. And it's like, okay, great. But like someone was the first to know something always, because that's
for any idea, any fact.
Someone was first to figure it out. So I think it's easy to be like, I can't believe they used to not boil water and not get why they were sick. But it's like, okay, but like if you were just like a baby in a field and just figuring out everything, who knows what you would come up with too.
Yeah, I mean, there's physical tools and then there's mental tools that you have to invent before you can start discerning new things. Like you can't, before the germ theory of disease, it was a fairly reasonable assumption that, some kind of unseen force is causing us to be sick. Like if you really genuinely don't know that germs exist, then how the hell are you going to figure it out? You have to build a tool that lets you see that.
Yeah.
Instead, they build an excuse and put a demon or a spirit to it, and that's okay. Like I'm not mad about it, but
that's a different kind of tool. That's a mental tool that they've used, and it like lines up with some of the evidence they have and lines up with less of the evidence than the germ theory of disease. That's the entire reason why in the scientific method you explore an option until you find that it doesn't work anymore, and somebody has a better idea that explains more of the evidence, and that is the new idea, right? Like you replace your old bad ideas with new good ideas, and the new good ideas aren't going to be perfect either, because some better idea will come along later, right? Like, I mean, there's always going to be holes, or at least as far as we've ever seen.
I mean, and that's just progress.
That's just progress.
That's how it is.
So I love that we have 2 paragraphs left, and I gotta say, what I love about the titular character, which is also true in the 3-part story, not really about her at all.
Yeah, I mean,
don't even know her name.
Yeah,
nope.
Yeah,
she don't get named. We don't even I don't think we even get the daughters' names. I think in like the Mishnah or something, they might have given them names, but I don't believe in the story they even have names either. So
no. I think we just get to figure out who, like, they birthed
Their
people.
ancestors. Yeah.
Yeah,
Who their
then-
progeny was or whatever.
Mhm.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things where the family tree has lots of little pictures on it, and then there's a couple spots where it's just like a random profile picture, unchanged, with a question mark under there for the name. Just
Right.
Lot's wife. Some lady.
Yeah.
Some lady, doesn't
Some
matter.
lady.
Pickle pie.
Lot and his daughters obeyed and ran away from Sodom. They didn't stop for a moment, and they didn't look back. But Lot's wife disobeyed. After they had gone some distance from Sodom, she stopped and looked back. Then Lot's wife became a pillar of salt. Can you see her in the picture? Can we see the picture? I want to look at the
There she is.
I don't see her in the picture. I see a pillar of salt, but I don't see her.
Yeah.
I wonder where she went.
Well, she became a pillar of salt.
What? No way!
And now you can see her in the picture.
I was sure that was just a ghost.
I love the questions like for kids, like because this is to be read to like children. Like I don't know about you, but this was like read to me before bed often. And like I never was just like, oh, I can't see her. There she is. Hi. Good
Poor
night.
thing.
Goodbye, dead lady.
No
Goodbye.
face.
Just look some back too.
No
Yeah,
face,
well,
no name.
What if she was just like, wow, God is so cool.
There was fire raining down. The angels are like, you gotta get out of here. Don't look back. And she missed that part because there was
She was like,
fire
"What?"
everywhere. And
He
so
said,
she's
"What
running
did you
away and she's like,
say?"
I bet God would love it if I. It's like, oh, you know what? I bet I'd get a really good vantage point from here. Let me take a picture with my iPhone for God.
That
When
was
God's
it.
in a tizzy, when he's in one of his moods, he's not listening. He's not looking to see who's feeling what.
Yeah.
He's just destroying. That's why the
That's
angel's
it.
like, look, we came this way for you. Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Get out.
Don't
of
beef
it.
Let's
You
go.
cannot
They
beef
gripped
it.
him up by the hand. They were like, let's skedaddle.
This is the last chance.
Get to step in, Lot.
So what did the people of Sodom do? I don't mean about the badness. I mean like the fire is raining down on their city. And only Lot leaves? Everyone else is like, I'm standing here on principle. Ah! Like what?
Right?
No. Because, like, yeah, I know.
Because what if
Like,
God's
it was
aim
really
isn't
people-
good? What if God's like, what if a couple of those big things just landed outside of the city and people were like, was that meant for us?
Yeah,
What's
like,
happening?
oh shit. Oh, we should leave. Is there a cave around here?
Like,
we
was
can
God
go to?
actually going for each individual man? Like if a man was running, was he just like, oh shit, like it's coming at me, like it has a radar?
Yeah, the picture, they're huge, but I imagine maybe they were like only like dodgeball size, but they were on fire. So like,
Right.
you know,
And they're hurling from outer space at however many
Yeah.
mile per hour. So I mean, that's gonna knock you
it's gonna leave a
into
dent.
dust.
Yeah,
It's gonna
That's
set you
gonna-
ablaze.
you're gonna have to buff that out in the morning.
Don't know if that's gonna quite do it.
Other people would do.
I hope that doesn't.
I mean, okay.
I
this
really
is-
hope these meteors don't
Okay.
ruin our safety deposit.
I don't know if this was just like the homophobia at my hall or if this was like widespread. Let us know somewhere. But growing up, I was basically told that like the people of Sodom and Gomorrah were so horny, so sex crazed. They were too busy to notice. Then they were like, I'm on fire.
Because
Like-
that's how they envision all people from
Yeah.
the LGBTQIA.
Anyone- yeah, if you're
community.
not cis het, you're just ravenously
It's not just. It's
sexist.
not
crazy.
You're not a witness.
Depraved.
That's true. That's more accurate. If you're
Right,
not a witness.
Exactly.
Because if you leave, you left for this reason or that reason, and they're just
Yeah, the only reason you would ever leave the truth is just to say it. Which,
Mhm.
like, I always wonder about how many witnesses are actually sinning and getting away with it.
What do you mean? Every single one of them.
Oh,
That's kind of the
gosh.
whole
Like-
point, isn't it?
Yeah, I was living a double life for a long
Yeah.
time.
I mean, you don't even. You can be fully believing in the truth, but every single thing you do is being monitored by God.
Yeah.
Everybody is going to accidentally sin every once in a while, and you're just supposed to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Just feel guilty.
Yeah.
Live in that shame.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go deep. Get it in your soul.
Get it really buried deep inside you, and then project it
Swallow
on yourself, even when
like
you're
a
not
jagged
doing
pill.
that.
Okay,
Let it come out the other end and tear you a new one. Sorry.
No.
But the last paragraph, I guess, actually does sum up everything.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, good lesson. Sure.
We
Okay.
can learn a good lesson from this. It shows us that God saves those who obey
Thanks,
him,
God.
but those who do not obey him will lose their lives.
That's the lesson.
That's the lesson.
Good
That
night,
is the
children.
lesson.
Sleep, sweet dreams.
That's
Love
such a-
you.
Yeah.
Don't let the
That's
bed bugs
such a
bite.
sinister lesson. He's the good guy? Who is the
It
good
shows
guy?
us that God saves those who obey him, but those who do not obey him will lose their lives. Like, I mean, they just put it cut and dry. It
Yeah.
was black and white. But that's kind of God's MO. He's always got his finger on the trigger. He's like,
Yeah.
test me.
He's
Let's see.
I like it is weird. It was always so confusing because like there's two scriptures. One where it's like you should never put God to the test, and other one that's like put Jehovah to the test to see that God is good or whatever.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, wait. I don't want to fall for this trap.
Yeah, don't fucking trick me.
I remember.
Yeah. I have a question. So in the witness version of the rapture or the end times,
Armageddon.
Armageddon. Does Jesus come back?
Yeah.
Okay, Jesus shows up,
He's like the
Yeah.
he's
but he's
leading
physically
the
back,
charge.
right?
Oh yeah, he's got a sword. He's on a horse.
So like, is
He's
Jesus
good to go.
considered? Was Jesus' first time around considered him being a savior of some kind?
Yeah, because he died. Oh, Molly.
She's fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, he died for our sins,
Right,
and
okay.
he resurrected people and stuff. Oh yeah, there he is.
So here's my question then. Here's
Look
my
at that
question.
sword.
How come when God sends a
Look at those white
savior,
angels.
a whole bunch of people have to die? That doesn't sound like saving to me.
Yeah,
Maybe this is a long power up.
yeah,
Yeah,
thousands of years.
he's
Because
charging.
I'm really
Get ready.
Okay,
Yeah.
like I know it's like taboo. Nobody wants to say anything about what happened to Uncle Tony, but like, I want to know, like, does he still get a horse? Because he was really excited to go hacking people away.
He
Did you say
really
a horse?
was.
Yeah, like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all, you saw the picture. They're all gonna get a horse. The
All the
governor
white
guys
guys,
get a horse.
All the
they
white
get a
men
horse.
get a
Yeah.
horse.
You know, Tony can get a horse now.
But it's
No, but that's not the
frowned upon if
point. He
kills
gets a
people
horse
now.
from God.
Oh, yeah.
He's
He gets
ready to go
power.
back to Nam, or which war did he fight? I don't know, but he's ready.
I think it
No,
might have
did
been.
you say no?
I think he was. He was in a war.
Well, yeah, but he probably wasn't in Nam.
He's really old, isn't he?
I don't know.
That was
He's
a-
out.
Yeah, and he's not and he wasn't a witness his whole life after
Yeah.
the war. is when
Oh, okay.
he-
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, after the war is when he decided to
Yeah.
become a
Okay.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
And he
But-
heavily leans into the fact he saw all that violence, but that violence is also what propels him to deliver violence to children from the podium. So there's that.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. No,
I have one more thing I'd like to do before we wrap up this story.
Mhm.
I think we should do the study questions.
oh goodness.
Okay, so why did Abraham and Lot separate?
They need their own property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Capitalism.
Why did Lot choose to live in Sodom?
Again, capital. Well, actually, did they even explain
Now,
that?
see
in
that
the book?
I wonder what their reason to that is, because
Oh, I know. I
he
think
went
he
to
was
live in
just a
Sodom
horn
because it was a
dog
good
for a
place to
while.
live. Right, but is that the answer they give, that he's a horn dog?
Yeah, I don't even know. It doesn't have any ansers here. It just has the questions.
Yeah, it just
so,
sounds like
Oh,
a
maybe this is like
individual one.
discussion. I
oh
see.
yeah.
I think my theory is that
Well, that's
you know.
such a. Can I just say that's such a witness thing? Like you're reading a bedtime story to your quick kid, and then there's a quiz
Yeah.
embedded into the whole thing.
Yeah. You have to study.
Mommy, I'm tired.
Wake back up! Wake up, idiot! You have to answer these questions.
I love that it was like, and God doesn't save the people who listen. Oh, what? There's
Wake up! Wake up!
there's a question. I'm sorry. Okay, what were the people of Sodom like?
Friendly, cool.
Normal
chill.
people. This is horrible. They were normal people living
They
their
were
lives.
horny and
Right?
full.
Ravenous.
They were
Booty hole.
The two
Ravenous
things I
for
know
the
about
booty
them-
hole.
The only two things I know for sure about them is that they were fleshy and vulnerable to fire.
Yeah, that's true too. What warning did two angels give Lot? Why
You don't want to be living here no more.
Right?
Yeah. Why did Lot's wife become a pillar of salt?
She's an idiot. Stupid.
She's a woman.
Doesn't know how to listen.
Because she's a woman who
Yeah.
doesn't know how to listen.
Yeah.
And the lesson here, kids, is do what God says, and then you'll live.
Because, like, you know that if the story was about Lot turning back, it would be like Lot turned back, but then a gust of wind hit him in the eyes, and he went, ah, and then he ran away some more, and then he got out. And then,
Yeah. What lesson can we learn from the case of Lot's wife? The
hang on,
case.
wait a minute. What if Lot's wife just got lost?
Now it's a case.
I mean,
Maybe it's the case of the missing mother.
yeah, the missing wife.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
case of this random pillar of salt in the middle of a destruction site.
Why is it there? Who
I
was
want
it?
like, can we get like a noir detective investigating these Bible cases?
Oh man, if we had done these questions before and I knew that, we could have like gotten a fedora in time and just
Yeah.
been like,
Lot's wife was getting away from the city of Sodom on a pair of getaway sticks that went from her feet all the way up to her hips, like a normal person.
yeah.
I really like the phrase "getaway sticks."
Well, I think this was a very good.
This was
honest
It was honest.
Bible, yeah, Bible adjacent.
It was at least right. We were in the vicinity of a Bible study.
We may not get the Bible right, but at least we were honest.
Ooh, that's fun.
Right?
I like that.
We may not get everything in the Bible right, but at least
At
we
least
were
we were
honest.
honest.
Yeah.